1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The 10 Dad Commandments.
1, 2, 2.
So, state your name.
Toby Snedeker.
Where you representing?
Town.
Okay. How many kids?
2.
Name and age?
Malcolm, 5 years. Grant, 10 months.
You gonna hold it down?
Until the wheels fall off and the stars burn out, man.
Absolutely. So, Toby, tell me about your kids.
I guess start with the smaller guy because he's just starting. He's 10 months, so he's starting to get the personality.
Mm-hmm.
He is, he's been getting ear infections nonstop since he went to daycare. I think he's probably spent 90% of the days in like 2024 on antibiotics. So he's having a tough time, but like first time I see him in the morning, it's a big, huge smile across his face.
Yeah.
He's copying sounds back and forth. I think he's going to be walking in like, I don't know, maybe a month because he's copying his brother. He wants to catch up.
Keep up. Mm-hmm.
Also, it's like they are both off the charts enormous. My wife's 5'10", I'm 6'1". They are big boys.
Exactly. So, what was one dad-like skill or moment you had even before you actually became a dad?
I think most of my family and friends would say the puns. Like,
Okay.
I did pull up. My wife says, I think I'm pregnant. I said, hi, I think I'm pregnant. I'm dad.
Yeah.
My voice, I didn't nail the delivery perfectly. My voice was a little shaky, but I did, I'm going to take this joke.
Nice. So, so tell me about a time that you felt, utterly lost as a dad, and a time that you felt like totally on top of it. Like, I got this.
Because there are times when I've known the direction I needed to go, but not how to get there. So it's not like there are moments when it's like, okay, how do I answer this question? How do I meet this need? How do I help this kid learn what he needs to learn here and be true and set him up? How do I set him up to make good decisions in a way that avoids like some of the blind spots or the things that I've had to unlearn?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, I was like, oh yeah, I don't see color. I thought that was what I was supposed to do. And it's like, I'm ignoring a significant portion of the lived experience I was with my classmates. That. So it's like, so some of those blind spots I can help him, but then there are other ones I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Do I have more blind spots here? So it's like, the times like, there was a point last night when he woke up screaming and I was just like trying everything. I was just like, I don't know what to do. My brain's not working.
Yeah.
There are some times in crisis when I just can see what needs to be done and I can focus in and lock down and do it. There was one time Malcolm was climbing. There's the Franklin Park Zoo, and for all you dads in the Boston area, it's a good zoo, and they also have a huge playground. So see the animals before you go to the playground, because after like 2 or 3, they're not leaving the playground.
Exactly.
There for that. But he was like on the 2nd or 3rd level, or maybe going up from the 2nd to the 3rd, and he slipped between. He was maybe 2. This is Malcolm. He slipped between the ladders and like bonked his head.
Yeah.
And my brain just like I saw it happen, and I turned into Spider-Man and like scaled the outside, and I was to him before he started crying.
Yeah.
And I had it, and I was calm, and he was playing again in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And also,
you have to do.
The other things, like some of the kids there, like there were some like 5 like there's some kids who were like 7 or 8 who were checking on him. Like there's some other parents out there doing good work.
Excellent. There's a lot of things out there that what dad should do, dad should not do. Is there a popular idea about dadhood that you just don't agree with?
I don't know. I hesitate to like speak on what is a popular idea and what isn't, because like I'm in my world up here. I'm a high school teacher.
Yeah.
I got 2 kids, so I'm not getting out
Yeah.
to as many different viewpoints as I used to be. I think I kind of have an instinctive pushback about anything about like needing to toughen kids up, because I'm like, the world is tough enough. Like, I want my guys to know that I love them and I'm there for them. You know, the world's already just going to be an asshole to them because that's the way the world is. We could try and make it better. They don't need me to, you know.
Exactly.
I want to know they can come to me. Yeah, it's.
No, I get it. Yeah. So how has becoming a dad changed your relationship with your dad, with your father?
It's made some of his traits more frustrating. You know, it's like you get a whole different understanding of being a parent and the things they can't say. And I'm a child of divorce, and my dad's a child of divorce, and the divorce his parents had, it was nasty. And so he, I think, also like beat himself up for the fact that he and my mom got divorced. Because like he felt like one of his big things was he wasn't going to do that. Also, he's a boomer. He needs therapy. I don't think, you know, we had a whole big family get together with like him and his sisters, and it's basically like those of us with kids and jobs and less disposable income and no equity, like organizing it because they can't. This is what it's there. My sisters and I are, you know, kind of work on him. You know, there's like there was a concerted several year effort to get him to say "I love you" at the end of phone calls, which is to be like "I love you, Dad." And the old dogs can learn new tricks, and so you know, I did see. Yeah, it's like I could think of things where like there are restriction, but then there's also like alignment, and we can see in the same priorities. This just actually this.
So
just this past.
Sorry, is there something? So is there something that you find yourself doing or saying or embodying that your parents or dad try to instill in you that you find yourself, you know, I get it. I get why he said that.
It's an ADHD thing. Like when I'm asked a question like that, like describe I have a, you know, there's a vast library of memory, and mine is staffed by golden retrievers. So sometimes the questions are right, and it's like boom. And there are other times when you ask the question, and the staff are just chasing a ball, or so it's like I can't think of one particular. Really, I feel like they did a good job raising me, but I can't like think of like one pithy saying that kind of wraps it up. Like my mom, I think there's also. I kind of exist in a balance between them. Yeah. And that my dad can get really focused on his own stuff. We don't hear from him for a while. Gotcha. And my mom will absolutely pour, like, her primary export is cookies and unconditional love. Like, my mom, my mom still sends, like, occasional bags of cookies to people in our class. Yeah. Like she still sends me care packages. It's like, I am 44 years old, but I am not dumb enough to complain about this. This is amazing. These are really good. Yeah. That's pretty cool. It's like I kind of exist on the spectrum between them because my mom also would give too much of herself and not advocate for herself. So
speaking about that, you know, we all live busy lives. You know, dadhood itself is hectic. How do you find time for yourself amidst, you know, being an awesome dad?
It has definitely gotten harder since Grant was born.
Yep, you're in it. You're in it again.
We're in it right now. My wife and I had we had like a date day a few several weeks ago. And, sorry about the coughing. They did a few weeks. Just like. I feel like spending time with you. Yeah, but we should hang out more often. Exactly. Because it's just like, get home. Before I hopped on here, it was like 8 o'clock when I finally started to get to make myself food because he was fussing. So she took him up. She reheated some St. Louis style ribs that I picked up from. Last night I was like, I'm making dinner tonight. What do you want from the barbecue place?
There you go.
Yeah. But she reheated it. She had the buttered cornbread sitting there, and she was upstairs with him. Yeah. So then, like, I made dinner for Malcolm. Went upstairs, tagged in. Was just he was just
Yeah,
So
no, yeah,
it's
no.
but carving out time for myself, we take we would alternate nights for who's got bedtime. Like so one person's prepping dinner, other person has bedtime,
Mm-hmm.
bath and bedtime. Um, so and then we have we got our little routines in the morning. It's trying to carve out space. I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons 3 nights a week. That's one of the things I
Okay,
carve out for
okay.
myself. But I'm doing it all through Zoom, so there's
Nice,
no commute.
nice,
Like,
nice.
yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
I'm living. There are aspects of my life that high school me could not have envisioned. It's like, oh, I finally get to do that. So yeah.
So, expound on that. What do you give me some examples?
In the latter half of the 20th century, in the olden days when we were growing up, I think there was like you got to get serious when you get older, and I do appreciate that, like our generation, like the end of the X and the beginning of millennium, kind of like
Yeah.
no,
No.
don't
Be
have
yourself.
to do that.
Yeah.
I can
Exactly.
I can do the stuff that I like. So my Halloween costume game has gotten significantly more elaborate and fun.
Nice.
I'm out there doing things that I'm not articulating this well, but that I'm being true to myself and having adult expression of childhood hobbies and passions that bring me joy, and I enjoy them in a different way, different complexity. Like, I wanted to, we didn't have the internet when I was in middle school, so I was just buying all these like RPG source books and reading them. But then I had no one to play with, and we're living in the suburbs. We can't go see each other.
Mm-hmm.
Could never get a game together. And now with Skype and stuff, I'm able to do this. But now I'm telling much more complex stories. It's like, yeah, it's a really fun hobby. I get to exercise my creative muscles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen my van.
No. No, tell me about your van.
Hold on. I'm gonna email you a picture because I'll send it to.
This must be a special van.
I keep forgetting you're gonna edit this.
Yeah. No worries. This is good stuff.
So I sent it to the 10 creator. Yeah.
Yeah. So is this a minivan or?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a Chrysler Pacifica. I am fully embracing van life because it's so practical.
It is very much so.
Oh man, like I had to take, like I was dropping it off at the dealership where we were getting it because I was like, can you check these things out? Like right when we were buying it, and they gave me like a GMC Acadia, which had almost the same footprint.
Yeah.
But it was just like that Pacifica. I can like get up, I can park the car, get up from the front seat, go to the mid and all the way to the back.
Gotcha.
Without getting out of the car.
Okay, so I'm a movie buff. I'm a TV buff, 80s baby. So this is an homage to the A-Team.
That's right. I love it when a van comes together.
B.A. Baracus, Hannibal, Murdoch. Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
I love it when a plan comes together. There you go. Wow, this is spot on.
Yeah, I got that wrap done in June 2 years ago, and it has brought me joy. I'm walking towards my van. And I'm like, it's my van.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, that's gonna be in the show notes.
That's dope. And like one of the other fun things I did, I found this company that make like custom switches.
Okay.
Like aircraft interior switches.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I could do something fun with these. And so I've ordered a few of them. And over the March break from my school, I built a little panel. It doesn't actually do anything, but there's like a turbo boost button. And like lock S foils. It's like all like there's a Star Wars reference. There's a Spaceballs reference. There's a Knight Rider, Airwolf. I'm like, and I've got more ideas percolating. Just like I got all these switches. So those 80s babies just be like.
Yes.
Just
is your wife an 80s baby too?
My sister did call me a cougar when we started dating.
Okay.
I'm 5.5 years older than she is, but I am technically a 70s baby. So yeah, she's also an 80s baby.
Okay, yeah. Oh wait, so you're 79, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, same. Yeah, yeah. so,
Yeah.
so, so, so speaking about the wife, how has becoming the relationship like? How do you guys co-parent? How do you divide and conquer in raising these kids?
um I mean, like, first there's like practical division of responsibilities. So like
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, I'm getting the lunches ready. So
Yep.
she's got to take him to daycare because I have to be at work. Like it wouldn't be possible mechanically for me to do the commute,
Mm-hmm.
drop them off at daycare, then get to work on time. So there's stuff like that. I was also thinking that divide and conquer is kind of an aggressive metaphor for parenting, but like I get.
Yeah.
Um, we talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think we kind of have an understanding of what each other's strengths are, and we
Yeah.
back each other up. There are
Teaming.
times. Hmm?
Teaming is a
Oh
team
yeah,
effort.
absolutely. It's a team
Yeah.
effort. And there are times when I'm like, I'm not sure how to handle this. Like there are certain situations where she's got the emotional toolbox or the conversational
Yeah.
devices to steer Grant's pre-verbal, steer Malcolm in the right direction. And then
Yeah.
there are other times when I'm able to like draw out what he's trying to say or make the connection. Like so we riff off each other really well.
Good. Mhm.
Our relationship would not function if we did not have good communication skills because
Oh.
like we are very different complementary people, and if we did not communicate about those points of
Mm-hmm.
friction and stuff, we've had like a fair amount of it's a very it is a very low drama relationship,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
which
No.
is I think the way to go.
That's what. So would you? Your eldest is 5, right?
Mhm.
Um. So I always tell folks that I have a 13-year-old daughter, a 9-year-old son, and a 6-year-old daughter. So 13, 9, and 6. Zuri, Masai, and Cami. And I always tell folks, I always tell parents that for me, um, it doesn't really it doesn't really start actually till 4 when they're actually people. Like they start to I could see you're a human, you know, you're a person at 4. So and they start to the world is their oyster. How how do you and your teammate, your wife, uh, you know, handle those tough situations with the 5-year-old?
It depends on what the tough situation is and what the
Mhm.
resolution that we need is.
Mhm.
Like one thing, like when they're freaking out, like you got to wait till they're ready to hear you.
Mhm.
So like in the moment of crisis, it's just kind of like, okay, let's calm down, let's regulate. Unless there's like there are certain situations where if there's immediate danger to anybody, it's like that the lifeguard safety dad takes over. It's like, yes, I'm going to physically pick you up and move you now, and then we're going to talk about it later.
Mhm. Mhm.
But like getting them calmed down and kind of, and, Jenna's really good at like circling back and kind of asking, hey, this is what was going on, what's happening. Um, Kids of all ages, like professionally and as a dad, I've found that like explaining the why
Mhm.
is just I mean, sometimes it is hard,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
it just helps enormously
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like I'm not just doing this to ruin your day. There are,
Exactly.
and then acknowledging we have to talk to the grandparents sometimes about boundaries and like
Mhm.
saying no
Mhm.
no no don't cry. It's like no like it's like I'll hear that sometimes. Like, you don't need to cry. I'm like, buddy, you can cry if you want to.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, they're learning. The grown up, the grandparents and the children.
Yeah.
We're working
Oh,
on that.
yeah.
But yeah, we're also fortunate, like, yeah, like seeing that personality come out. Like Malcolm has this really awesome, like caring and nurturing side that
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
like, it's like I need to prevent the world from like telling him that he can't, like I can't stop the world from telling him that he can't do this. So I just try to pour as much support into those moments as I can, so that he keeps doing it, because it's part of who he is. And
Yeah.
I don't want him to be trapped in an old model, right?
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned, you harped on that a little bit before. Is that something that keeps you up at night in your dadhood?
Mostly it's a 10-month-old keeping me up at night.
Obviously.
Yeah. It is a thing, because like my grandfather
Hmm.
was a World War II combat veteran of the Battle of the Bulge,
Oh
a
wow.
functioning alcoholic.
Hmm.
And it's like, I remember my dad told me a story recently. I was talking to him about like where we get this bad drainage in our ears from, going back to Grant's ear infections. He told me a story about, he had an ear infection so bad it was coming out of his tear ducts, and his eyes like kind of got glued shut overnight. And he remembered waking up and freaking out. His dad came in and like used a warm towel and like helped him calm down. And I was like, I think that's the first time you've ever told me a story. I'm 44 years old. This is the first time you've told me a story about your dad like doing something like that and displaying care and affection. And so he had that fraught relationship. And you know, one of my regrets is that I, as having moved all the places my life has taken me, I didn't really get to know my grandparents that well as an adult. And now that opportunity is no longer there. And so like my dad's carrying all this stuff. And I think he tried to avoid putting it on me, but then also like, you know, we grew up in the 80s and 90s, and there's some less than ideal ideas of masculinity floating around there. And so like I'm thinking about all this stuff on one level.
Yeah.
But that's so wildly abstract. How do I try to like crystallize these things down in a way that he can process them and take things that let him avoid some of the traps that I fell into growing up? And then also I have ADHD. And I'm like, I had therapy in like the 5th and 6th grade, but like when I got to, I built my coping strategies in a cave out of scraps.
Okay.
And now at 44, it's like, these don't exactly work anymore. And so I'm working on that as part of my personal journey.
Yeah.
And my wife has her own neurodivergent, so that's another thing where we're watching our kids like, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, they might end up. So there's so many things that to worry about in raising kids. But at the core, like coming back, it's like, hey, he knows I love him. Like that. Like having two parents that love you is unfortunately like you're already ahead of the game. And having, you know, and so there's so many things to worry about.
So speaking about you know, you talked about the crystallization of, you know, all these thoughts, these emotions, these learnings that you're trying to possibly, you know, instill in your sons. You know, what's one emotional skill you're hoping to build within them?
I mean, I think I gotta say empathy.
Okay.
It's like being able to hear someone's story and see them as a person, even, and like and for that person to feel heard. Because I think the worst things happen when people just don't see people as people. Like the social, like having as an educator, I've done like, you know, I've been to a few things on like social emotional learning. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Like kids are getting from the get-go a better toolbox than we started out with, like learning how to regulate their feelings, learning how to support each other. You know, I as a high school teacher, I hear people complaining about the kids these days, and I'm like, no, they're just kids. They're, and in a lot of ways, they are better than we were at their age. And also being a high school teacher, I remember like some of our classmates like, we weren't like that at that age. I'm like, no, we were definitely. Exactly. I started teaching right out of college, and so I heard kids saying things with the same intensity and conviction that we said them, and I was just like, oh man, that sounds, that is not a good look.
Exactly. Exactly. Excellent. Excellent. So coming full circle,
Mhm.
regarding um the van, your the one trait that you had, you know, the dad joke sort of pun sort of thing. Is there like a tradition, big or small, you started with your kids that you hope they continue?
I tell them I love them every day,
Mm-hmm.
multiple times, to the point where when Malcolm was maybe somewhere around 18, 24 months, Jenna, as part of her bedtime routine, she would make up songs. She was doing like the wheels on the bus, and then Malcolm would get to request things.
Mm-hmm.
So like there might be elephants on the bus,
Okay.
and she would have to make elephant noises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes she'd have to ask it. So one of them was the dada's on the bus. And she said, well, what does the dada on the bus say? And Malcolm said, I love you.
Mm.
And it's like, all right. Like I am prouder of that than like I've run 11 marathons. Like I am prouder of that than
Yeah.
any of those.
Yeah.
Like it's so like that as like just being open
It's
and showing
been,
love.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Like just
mhm.
that is not that is not as changed. That is, we worked on my dad that too.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think I don't know if they'll pick it up.
Mhm.
And I won't know for a long time. And it's one of the challenges of being an older dad. But I sing when it's my turn to do bedtime routine. I do lullabies.
Excellent. Mhm.
I do I do as a base. I don't have a lot of options, but I do. Stand by Me, Lean on Me, and Country Roads.
Okay.
And that was Frere Jacques got added in there like about a year and a half ago on request, and sometimes other songs, but like those are the core. It's like I've been doing those every night, do those three songs, and then 20 Pets, because there was the stage where like 20 was the biggest number Malcolm knew. So when he wanted a lot of something, he would want 20. So
Yeah.
it's just like, and then I say, I love you, buddy. Good night, I'll see you in the morning. Like just having, if that routine gets carried on.
That's awesome. So, I took a lot of thought in coming up with my 10 dad commandments. And that's what's the name of the show is. So it's gonna be like a little lightning round. We're gonna go
All
through
right.
the 10 dad commandments. I'm gonna say it, and then just let me know what comes to mind.
Okay.
When you hear it. All right. So number one, know and love yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that I'm working on it. That's one of the things I'm working on. I'm getting more therapy so my kids need less of it.
There you go. Okay. Okay. There you go.
And also, if you can't, that ties into the expression, the van, and all that stuff. Is I am like that part of myself. I'm doing the things
Mm-hmm.
that I want to do, doing them for me, and it brings me joy. That it brings other people joy.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
one of the things I was, I internalized a lot of negative self-image over the years, and a few years ago, sorry, one of the cats is demanding attention.
Mhm.
I don't remember exactly how long. My wife kind of like put both hands on my shoulders and looked into my eyes and said, "You are not hard to love,"
Mm.
and that was big.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
think that might have been more than you were. Not quite.
Yeah. Excellent. Number two, you can't change people, and you shouldn't try to.
Facts. That's the kids say.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm a big believer in number three, in owning it. Did you make a mistake? Own it. That's okay. Did you do something wrong? Own it. That's okay. Were you wronged in the past? Did somebody hurt you? Okay. Yeah, they shouldn't have done that, but you have to own it. What do you think about that?
I'm a language teacher. I have to convince kids every time I come into a new school. It's like, no, you can make mistakes in my class. If you spoke
Mm-hmm.
French perfectly, I wouldn't have a job. I expect you to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
languages are ridiculous. Having small children really reinforces that, because they're like, they're doing their best, and it's like that makes sense. It's wrong, but that makes sense. And so like that's, yeah, the taking. We gotta own our actions and have that integrity and own our actions and our past. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 4, expect nothing, give everything.
The way in which it is intended, like in fan, like I pour all the love I have into my kids, but I'm also in an industry where it's like, well, if you really love the kids, you do this extra stuff. It's like I want to do what I'm contracted to do because I want to go home to my kids. So like, yeah, it's that one's contextual, but yeah, it's like I think it's a good thing for parenting because I think if you're giving everything, but you have a specific goal in mind for your kids, that's not their goal, that's your goal.
Exactly.
Like I want to raise 2 adults who know that they are loved and are good people. And I use that non-gender specific terms like explicitly because I've had trans students and just like going back to Mr. Rogers. I love you just the way you are.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. 5, seize the moment.
That is an advantage and curse of how my brain works. At times it's like, yeah, let's do this thing. I know I should be prepping this for tomorrow, but
yeah,
let's seize this moment. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and sometimes it's like the responsibility. It's like I really want to play with you right now, but I do have to do dishes, or your brother's not going to eat.
Yeah.
But yeah, seizing the moment whenever you can, because you don't know when it's coming back. Malcolm wants to help in the yard.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes every single time because I want to encourage that.
Yeah.
Even if it means I have to rake twice.
Exactly. No, because you talked about something that you said stuck with me about when your regret is not in your being older, adulthood, the relationship with your grandparents. That stuck with me because I oftentimes wish that same with me.
Yeah. It's tough, especially like we were there's states to cross, and it's just
exactly. Number 6, quality over quantity.
With the caveat that sometimes quantity is a quality all its own.
Okay.
But the delivery of like being I mean, unless you're very fortunate, like there is a limit on how much the quantity of time you can provide to your kids of your time. So focusing on improving the quality is I think more attainable for most of us, but if you can get more quantity,
Number 7, keep an open heart and an open mind.
When you think about like how old our parents are and what the world was like when they were growing up, one of the things I tell my students sometimes is I have to, put things in perspective, because right now I've taught in fairly well-off suburbs and private schools, and there's some abstraction for these kids, and I'm like, guys, like Ruby Bridges is 5 years younger than my dad. Like the people who thought like, oh, we should throw rocks at her are still around. And then the amount of change that's happened between like one of the other things I figured out this year, I did the math on it, is that the TV show Friends premiered 2 years before America hit majority acceptance on interracial marriage.
Wow.
Right? Like 1994.
Yeah.
Like that was we were 16 when but then you look at the progress on like now, like 80% of people younger than us are like, yeah, sure, gay marriage, whatever. Why would you object to that? Like there is the progress and the speed of things changing. When we had all those emails that we were sending freshman year, like that was do you remember we got our Westtown emails?
Yeah, when we the first,
and there were all those like we did I was doing wasn't MS Paint because they were Macs, but I was doing like the soccer ball for Second Association and like doing emails. And we basically instant messaging email.
Exactly. I taught my kids that I am I didn't know what the internet was until Westtown.
Yeah.
Because
I mean that, and we were pretty cutting edge. The fact
Yeah,
that it was
which was
we were ahead of the curve, and so there's going to be changes like that, and if you have to have an open heart and an open mind because like change is inevitable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Number 8 is it harkens back to one of the things that I took from my parents, because they said this to me a lot growing up, and I really truly believe them, and that's why this is one of my 10 dad commandments is the people who you surround yourself with matters. They used to say it as show me your company and that will tell me who you are.
And it starts, and I mean, like the model you're setting. I forget what I wish I could remember. There's like an age where like your kids' peers start having more influence in their life than you do.
Yeah.
And it's like 10. Maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, exactly.
It's early, and so
early.
Trying to get those principles of being a good person instilled in, so that they know to surround themselves with good people, and they ask and modeling that by.
Let's take a quick break. Are you an educator passionate about building classrooms where every student thrives? Mosaic Minds Consulting helps you dismantle systematic racism and achieve lasting equity. Dr. Shala Fleming's doctoral research combined with real-world experience means you get practical, evidence-based strategies that work. K-12 higher ed districts, we partner with them all. Visit mosaicmindsconsulting.org for your free consultation. Again, that's mosaicmindsconsulting.org. Together, let's create schools where all students belong and succeed.
Surrounding ourselves with good people, and also there's a bunch of studies that like that is big, positive impact on your health and well-being and physical, mental, across the board. It's
exactly.
And remembering that you can't change people. So it's like, I can heal. It'll come around. It's like, maybe, but maybe until then.
Exactly. Number 9, obstacle is the way.
Possible interpretations of that.
So my interpretation is that you need to embrace the obstacles that you're going to find in your life, and I guarantee you there will be obstacles in your life.
That resonates on a bunch. Like there is like sometimes there's no easy way to do something. Or adversity, and then the adversity builds character. Which my wife sometimes says you already have enough character. But the embracing being, it's tricky because like there's like grow through stepping out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself, and you have to grow. But then at the same time, I'm wary of like kids have to have more grit. Kids need to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And a lot of times when I hear that rhetoric, it's not acknowledging that some kids are dealing with increased burdens. Like, these kids just need to knuckle down and do it. It's like, well, those kids over there are neurologically divergent and they're stressed because you're asking them to make eye contact. Those kids over there are code switching. Those kids back there are trying to figure out what their gender identity is. Those kids, it's like, and so like, when you're like, we need to have grit, it's like, these kids are already working on it.
Yeah.
Just by being here. And so it's the,
but in their own, in their own universe, or they're going to face obstacles. And
it's I guess my reaction is not that you need to, I don't want to pile additional obstacles. It's like your life is going to have obstacles. You're going to have to acknowledge them and change them. But going back to that, know yourself and love yourself. And forgive yourself. And tying back to my personal journey, I've spent probably 30, depending on, I'd have to do the math to figure out when I got diagnosed, but like beating myself up for, I was holding myself to a neurotypical standard with a brain that isn't that.
Gotcha.
So I had an impossible obstacle. I could not, and so part of the process I need to go through in the next few years to help support my sons is figuring out how better to support myself and set those better standards. And that's an obstacle.
Yeah, but that's you embracing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's like you can't pretend the obstacle's not there either. Yeah. No, I see.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
There you go.
Malcolm. Sorry, I just remembered like I said that like 6 months ago. And Malcolm said, "Well, then put down what you're picking up." Just like instantly, I was like, "Yes,
yeah, kids."
The bloodline was strong with you.
Literal, yeah. And number 10, trust and follow your intuition. Follow your gut; it'll pay off. Yeah.
Some people do have better intuition than others.
Yeah.
It's good, and that ties back into surrounding yourself with good people who will tell you, tell you and support you in your journey.
Yeah, I tell my kids, especially as my daughter is an teenager.
Yeah.
Early on adolescence, is make good decisions. That gut, I truly believe that there's always that time. It may be a second, maybe a minute, that I shouldn't be doing this.
I was thinking about in that context, like there are times it's like you should like listen to that intuition.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gesticulating too, and I just almost elbowed Grant in the head.
No worries.
He's conked out of my lap right now.
No worries. No, this has been great.
Yeah, man. I feel bad because like I want to engage, like ask you some more of the probing questions. This is a good interview. I'm feeling like you're doing all the conversational burden, but it is also your podcast. So.
No, definitely. So and wrapping up, if you had only a few sentences to describe the best part of being a dad, what would you say?
Got something. I'm trying to figure out how to put it into words.
Take your time.
Sometimes I got to talk through ideas.
Take your time.
That's how they emerge. But there's something in you invest so much of your love and self into them that like their successes and growths are just like it hits different than things that you can accomplish. To see you see glimpses of yourself and your partner, but also of like other people in the family, like wondering how far back that echoes. Like sometimes Malcolm makes a face that makes me think of my cousin Jack, and I'm like, are we getting that from Gramps? Is it further back? That connection to like that past. It is, but also just it's like the joy of watching them grow, and then it's balanced by like there are going to be some times when like something happens and it breaks his heart, and that is going to be I'm going to be an emotional wreck. It's going to be bad. Like watching them grow and find their own joys and supporting in that, and I'm hoping like I go hard on these Halloween costumes, and a few years like last year he wanted to be Spider-Man last year. It was Spider-Man last year, so that was just went to Costco, got a Spider-Man costume. The year before that was a firefighter, but the year before that I was like, what do you want to be for Halloween? He said, Dad, I want to be a truck. I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture.
Did you go Optimus Prime, Transformers?
No. I was like, what kind of truck do you want to be? And he said, I want to be a fire truck.
Fire truck. Still, it could be a Transformer.
It could be a Transformer. I didn't have a ton of time. I made a separate album for it, Truckening 2021. But I made him from a diaper box, and I made a fire truck out of like just stuff.
Yeah.
and it had wheel. He could push it and it rolled. But like one of the things I'm hoping is like I'm gonna keep asking what he wants to be for Halloween, and sometimes I'm gonna be making stuff, and like that. There's a thing in teaching of like I do it and you watch. We do it together. You do it, and I help. You do it, like a progression of skill acquisition. And but I really hope that like if he picked up that baton and like started branching out and doing his own Halloween costumes, and like I would just be so excited to see what he came up with. You know, it's like that thrill of so it's like all like I guess you could say it's like going the family as a team. You are so much more invested in the successes and the efforts of your kids than you are in any sports team. Like the joys of their triumphs are bigger than
absolutely
any championship.
Absolutely.
And I say that as a Red Sox fan, pretty happy back in 2004.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, Toby, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for opening it up. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed the conversation. It's like and that, I mean, it was a thoughtful interview. It made me think about some things. Like I'd be,
yeah,
probably not a return guest, but like I'd be happy to keep talking dad stuff because there's so much.
Oh yeah. No, this is something that I feel can be therapeutic. And just something that we just just need to do more of as dads.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot of there's a space for it.
Yeah.
I was also I don't know. It just keeps popping back into my head with our conversation about like just it ties in a bunch of different elements, but like as growing up as a nerd and still being a nerd, it's like the with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Like that's one of those like definitely coming into because Malcolm is taller than most of his classmates.
Yeah,
he's a big kid, and it's like I'm bringing it. And Spider-Man's one of his favorite heroes. It's like, but you got to use your powers responsibly.
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right, I'll let you get back to it. Thanks again. All right. Appreciate you.
Man, it was a pleasure.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, man. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, listeners, do me a favor and remember to subscribe to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. Please leave me a message in the comment section. Leave me a feedback sandwich. What is a feedback sandwich, you ask? Let me explain. The bread. Say something nice, like, I really dig your podcast. It is something new to the podcast market. Then the meat. That's the feedback, the constructive criticism. For example, however, I think if you would not interrupt your guests as much, let them talk more, your podcast will be better. Then the last layer, the other piece of bread. Example, all in all, I think you're onto something. I will continue to listen to the 10 Dad Commandments.
The 10 Dad Commandments. 1, 2,